And we're back for segment 2 of the Moment Panel number 3. You guys are in for a treat. Kalisa Davies, I've been waiting to ask you this question, and we were just in the back room having a conversation around this because it's unbelievable. You were able to close over 400 transactions, refinance and new purchase, in 2020 with just her and one assistant. The question I have, I'm sure it's the same question you have, is simply how? How are you able to close that many transactions, and what are you doing to close that many transactions? But maybe, just maybe, I'm asking the wrong question. What are you not doing that's allowing you to close that many transactions by being so productive?
I have learned to not micromanage, I would say is one of the biggest things, is letting go of the part of the process that I should not be involved in, and just really letting my assistant take over. And she's not assistant, we're a team. She's amazing. I am dedicated to her. I couldn't do it without her, and we definitely have different skill sets.
Sure.
I'm good at what I do, and she's good at putting everything into place. I'm like, come up with these crazy ideas, and she's like, no, we're not doing that. That's out of control. And so knowing the systems that work for our clients, and I think that having them in place, they know what to expect when they work with us, and they know if they refer a friend, this is what that same person is going to get. Everything we do is referral based. People always say, how many agents do you work with? And it's always all about agents. And honestly, we definitely have agents that come to us, but it is more our clients that are referring people to us.
Wow.
For their friends and family, and not only just for purchases, it's refinances. And they know if they come to me, they can ask me direct questions, and I get tons of referrals from people that I didn't even work with, because they'll come to me and say, I have this quote. You know, when COVID hit, jumbo was not really a thing for a while there.
Sure.
And so what are we going to do with all these transactions? Think outside the box. How do we structure this? What do we need to do? And as it started coming back, my past clients would come to me, and I'm like, yes, I want to work with you so badly. I want to do this loan for you, but go to this other lender, because I know their fees and their rates right now are way better. And by having clients that know they can come to you and you will always be 100% with them, they always feel comfortable sending friends and family to you, even if it's just a competitive quote.
Sure.
And they know that I'm the person that's going to look at this and say, I will beat this all day long, or stay where you're at.
That builds so much credibility.
Do not do this with me. Lock in today, like whatever rate you're getting. And actually, I have a few clients. Can you send me the other loan officer? You know,
Sure.
I want my clients to be set up for success, and they know that that's what I want, and that's why they come back.
That's
because
incredible.
it is not about us.
That's incredible. Well, I'm sure you guys all have a bunch of questions, but I gotta just get this question off my chest. I understand everything you're saying, and that's wonderful, but you still closed 400 transactions. How do you handle that kind of deal flow? I mean, that's so many people coming at you. That's a ton of emails, phone calls, follow-up questions. And maybe a better way for me to phrase that question for you is, what is your superpower? Because I feel like you have to have a superpower that's like above the average Joe in order to manage that many numbers, that many names and situations and scenarios upstairs.
I think it started with bartending.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. See, I knew it was something.
Being a server, because you know, people would come in and I might not remember your name,
Okay.
but I always knew your order, and that's kind of still how it is.
Wow.
Someone will come back to me, and maybe I don't remember exactly when they start talking to me, but the more they talk about the situation or the loan or whatever, I will know their address, know that they just had a baby,
That's
know
incredible.
that they have a cousin who was planning to purchase and they were going to send me their information. And just, I always make personal connections with my clients. It is never just the loan. And that's, even if they don't work with me, I will always follow up. Did this go okay? Are you comfortable? Did this, you know, ask me questions. Even if I'm not doing your transaction, I want you to be comfortable and understand what you're doing. This is probably one of the biggest purchases you're ever going to make, or refinance, because whatever your life situation is.
Yeah.
And I want to be the person that you know is looking out for you.
That's
and I'm
phenomenal.
setting you up for success. And so it's the personal relationships. It's always, you know, having your client know that they can come to, and I mean, people tell me the craziest things. Like, we'll get on the phone. I had a voicemail the other day from a client, and he's like, so she's leaving me. I mean, just launches into this whole thing, and I'm like, so we're gonna do a refi. What are we? And then now
points.
I'm doing the ex's purchase, and we're all just, happy family. But I'm just, they just, they know that they can trust me.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
know, like, and trust
they
you.
can call me. They can leave that message, and I will call them and say, let's figure it out.
Wow, that's incredible. I have so many more questions rolling around in my head, but I'm gonna let you guys jump in there as well.
I asked the same question to Taylor when she was going to close 200 this year. Yes, so if you closed 400 last year, was that correct?
Over
just
400.
So what is your goal for 2021? Same question.
Right.
It's kind of a hard thing to say. My goals are never specific numbers. It's so I talk a lot about the relationships. So one thing we did this year is we have systems in place, and I came up as an assistant, and so I know as an assistant what my assistant needs to do her job. So as long as she knows how to, I give her what she needs, I know she can close that. Once something starts to fail in our system, so I felt like probably around March, we brought on another marketing person because that was just not happening. We
Sure.
did not have time to send a gift to any, I didn't even have time to, do anything. So, once you see, okay, I'm not good at this, I'm not succeeding in the type of relationships that I'm known for and that I want to keep going, you need to have somebody who can still do that. So now we have someone who, it's more, not, I don't want to say client relationship, but a little bit. So she does marketing, she does closing gifts, she does through the process gifts, but then not only that, so Caliber services, I'd say 80 to 90% of their conforming loans. So half of our clients are, how do we do this? How do we get on the website? How do I do this? She knows all that. So they're not sitting on a 1-800 number. They're still with our team. We're still always in front of their face. It's kind of that nice extra step that they know, oh, I didn't get my tax statement. How do I get this? Oh, I'm going to get your 1098. We'll send it over. Or I just bought the house. I can't find my settlement statement. Here you go.
Right.
So it's just that extra client relationship step that I think makes it work. But I do think knowing when you're overwhelmed, it's good to be able to admit that, which is very hard for me. That tastes like vinegar coming out of my mouth. But, just knowing when, okay, now I'm not doing my best. Now our team does not look the best we could look. And especially with COVID, every guideline is changing every week. So staying on top of that, I didn't have time to be restructuring half of our deals in the middle of March when they took away half our loans.
Sure.
And making sure our clients were happy.
Wow.
And so that relationship is so important to me to keep it going.
That's huge. And I think if I'm hearing you correctly, and I know this to be fact, because I like to pride myself on knowing a lot of people, especially in the space of real estate. I had no idea who you were until just recently, and you're doing over 400 transactions. When I go on Facebook, I can see why, because you don't promote yourself at all. It sounds like your promotion is focused internally. But if you have a client, not only do you do an excellent job of serving that client, but you also stay with them throughout the process.
Yes.
So yeah, there are other people who are kind of options, but you're always number one, you're always top of mind because you maintain that relationship during and after the transaction.
I get multiple holiday cards from my clients.
That's
We
great.
know their families, we know what's going on, we know if someone's having a hard time. I had a different client who their son was going through something. We always send him a little gift.
Right.
So it's just having those personal touches and really feeling like they mean something to you.
Sure.
They're not just another number.
Right.
It's not just a transaction. You
Wow.
care about them and setting them up for success and what they're going
Amazing.
to do.
Love that. I'm so happy that you shared that because I knew it was something. Because number one, you have to be able to manage that many transactions. I was a loan officer. I think the most I ever did in a month was like 7 by myself, and that was like killed it.
I did it. I made it.
I did it, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work, especially if you don't. I did have an assistant, but I was sharing it with like 4 or 5 other people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So not really.
Yes.
But I do understand. Like actually, I don't understand how you pulled off 400 transactions. Still, I understand systems, and we talked a little bit about it briefly. Initially, when we were having our initial conversation about. You don't really have a bunch of other systems. I was expecting you to name off a bunch of different
No.
super cool, edgy software that I never heard of, but you actually scaled back rather than
I do. I don't have time for all that. So people in the industry probably know. So we used to be Cobalt, and then we merged with Caliber. And when that merger happened, all of our systems changed, and everyone was using multiple systems to manage their pipeline and go through everything. And I don't have time. My assistant doesn't have time. If I brought in all these different systems, she would be mad at me. She don't
Like,
make
what are
me
you doing?
manage all this. So we took what we already had, we took what they gave us, and we
Yeah.
made it work. And, you know, I have people call me and they're like, are you gonna send me a video presentation? I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you an email and maybe a PDF. And that's it. We go over that. They understand it. I almost think they understand those things more, because if they do need more information, tax benefits, amortization schedules, things like that, it gives us another chance to have a phone conversation.
Sure.
It's not, I already sent that to you in our initial video presentation. It's call me back,
Yeah.
let's walk through it, let's understand it, let's make sure you're making the right choices. And it's another, you know, point in the conversation to get in front of them.
Sure, makes all the sense in the world. Any other questions, anybody?
I have a question. So, Kalisa and I have gone, we go back,
Yes.
well, to at least Cobalt.
Well, yeah.
And it's very interesting because I first started doing business with you as an assistant.
Yeah.
And I find it very interesting that both of you, very high producing lenders, were at one time assistants. Do you think that that has been a key factor in your success?
100%.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, I think that knowing what my assistant needs, because I was an assistant, and I also think she knows that I was an assistant, so when I say something or when I'm giving, you know, let's try it this way, let's do this, she respects it a little bit more because she knows I did her job.
Yeah.
So she doesn't think
It's a great point.
I'm just doing this. You don't
Yeah.
even know what I'm doing.
Sure.
You don't know the
Right.
work I have to go through. And
It's
I
like,
can
well,
say,
actually,
well,
I
I
do
do.
at a high level.
And I already did it. And I did it with all out the online. You know,
Yeah.
I used to be walking the file down to underwriting, logging it in, you know, like highlighting disclosures. There was no DocuSign. So not only do I know it,
It's
I
like your
know
job's
it worse.
easy.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I mean, and I think that that's why we can do what we do, is because all these new, you know, DocuSign, email, these things are much more user friendly now.
Sure.
Typically most people have computers, they're okay scanning, faxing, apps on your phone, things like that. And she is the person that knows how to put these systems into place and put them into process. And I say, we need to be doing this, this, and this. And she looks at everything and says, we can do that if you do this.
Wow.
And so if I do that for her, she will do this for me.
Love that. That's a
It's
great
powerful.
lesson.
Yeah.
Where did you find him or her, and where do you even go to find someone like that?
Well, so she was hired when I was working for Brady,
Okay.
and he taught me everything. And I think I had just come back from maternity leave. I don't even know what was happening, but he's like, you got to talk to this girl. I was like, okay, send her it. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she's, you know, a week out of college. She had just graduated. She's trying to go work at this recruiting firm, be a recruiter. I was like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You want to come work here. You're too beautiful to do that. I was like, this industry will eat you up. And so we hired her, and she started off, she wanted to start on the team. And I was like, you need to start as a processing assistant because you don't know the industry. And until you understand what we're doing, it's not going to make sense.
Sure.
I can tell you what to do. I can teach you how to do it. But you have to have a sense of what our goal is.
Yeah.
Why we're doing this. Why are we
Yes.
asking for a VOE? Why are we asking this person for all of these documents, which is annoying them? And so she started, as a processing assistant just to get some of the background information, and then she did that for 6 months and then started with us. And so Brady at that point had transitioned out, and so it was just me and her, and we just killed it. That was it. The rest is history.
That's wonderful. I love that.
So, but she's honestly amazing, and I think once you find someone who's as dedicated to what you're doing as you are,
Yes.
it makes all the difference.
Yes.
Because like you said, you hired wrong, right?
Oh,
and so
first few times, yeah.
I have hired so wrong. Alyssa will walk in my office and be like, what are we doing here? This is not going to work. And I'm like, let's just try it. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And then it doesn't work. And, I want to see the best in people. I want it to work. But if they are not going to fill in a gap that you already have, or if they want to do a job that you didn't offer them, it's not going to work.
100%.
Fantastic. Great stuff. I'm so happy you shared that. I'm so happy that we had you here, because when I was starting to get to know you and you're telling me the number of volume that you're doing, I'm like, how is that even possible? So thank you so much for being here. Laura Lynn, you're up next. All right. Now, the question I have for you
Yes.
is a great question, because it's a question that I think we can answer for all of us, which is the COVID pandemic has presented the real estate industry such both substantial obstacles as well as incredible opportunities. In fact, many of us here has had the best year ever in our career in 2020, despite the pandemic. So can you describe some of the obstacles and challenges you had to overcome in order to keep driving your business forward? And what did you learn about yourself during the process?
Oh my gosh, such a big question. The pandemic, on a personal level, is a whole different animal. Professionally, real estate is all about relationships.
It is.
And so it's been extremely challenging to meet with clients and lenders and vendors and professionals while masked and over
Yeah.
Zoom, and it's so incredibly impersonal. So I think that's been the biggest challenge with moving my business forward and continuing on during the pandemic, and just dealing with everybody's fears.
Yeah, a lot of
And
fear.
just and speaking with clients while they're at home with 4 children in the background, and they're all of a sudden working from home, and it's been incredibly challenging. So, but it has been a very successful year for us.
Right.
We've been blessed with 15 years in the business, so
Wow.
we have a lot of past clients and
Wow.
people that are comfortable, and they still need to buy or sell real estate.
Absolutely.
So they've relied on us to help them do so under a
100%.
challenging time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You really, we've known each other, known of each other for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but just recently when I was starting to assemble this panel, you caught my eye because you had a post on Facebook in which you're getting ready to send out a bunch of thank you gifts.
Ah.
And I think it was like an entire room. It was like a pretty big room
Yeah.
of people. I'm thinking like, there's so much that we do that that clients and just people in general don't know what all goes into this business,
It's
right?
true.
And so I'm not even sure how many boxes you have. But I think it was cookies that you were sending out.
Cookies, 4 cookies or 3 cookies this
Yeah.
year to 400 clients. Yeah.
Jeez, that's a
Yeah.
lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot. So you have definitely
But it's
been killing
fun.
it.
It's a lot of fun, and it's personal, and it's cookies, but still,
Yeah.
it's freshly baked.
Yeah, freshly
cookies.
baked. You
We're
have to like
thinking
choose
of
the
you.
colors.
We appreciate you as
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So awesome.
So.
And so, what other opportunities, just in general? Because from my standpoint, I'm also a real estate agent, but being the
Mm-hmm.
host of the show, at first I think we're all like putting our hands in the air, like what are we gonna do? You can't do open houses anymore.
Exactly.
Things are changing. You can't meet
Yep.
people in person. So it seems like we all kind of adapt,
Mm-hmm.
and we quickly learned. We quickly made these pivots, and in some ways we improved. Like I think, especially on the lending side, you're probably thinking, how are we going to do the kind of volume that we've been doing with all of these restrictions? But yet we found a way to not only maintain, but actually grow with the same amount of people, if not less.
I think the real estate market was just immune to the fact that we're in a pandemic.
Sure.
Which is just bizarre,
Right.
isn't it?
There was
It's
that
like, when
moment
is
when it
everybody
came,
going to
we were
figure
like,
out the fact
"What's
that there's a
happening?"
Yeah.
virus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they
They
want to be
just-
quarantined
yeah.
in the right house.
Yeah. I
And
do
we've
think
done,
that was
which we've
huge.
done a ton of business this year with people that have lived in smaller condos and
Yes.
downtown situations. It's what we're referring to as urban flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we have just so many clients that are seeking. I mean, we even have we're looking for land and we want to custom build. And,
Yeah.
just bizarre observations with Facebook, Zillow, Microsoft employees, because they can work from home now.
Sure.
So they have all these opportunities that they didn't have before.
Love it, love
So,
it. So here's a
yeah.
question I'm kind of gonna open up to everybody, because I haven't really thought about this until just now. The things that you're sharing is, what opportunities, what bigger opportunities are you guys seeing for the real estate industry in general? Now that we just kind of went through this, it seems like things are starting to improve, right? We just went from phase one, we've now moved into phase two. What have you learned that you can apply into 2021 that can improve your business and hopefully improve our overall quality of life, right? Because it's not all about just trying to do as many transactions as you can.
Yeah, definitely.
I've learned to leverage technology a lot more. I agree with you. Like, our business is so relationship focused
It is so much
that how do you build rapport with someone without meeting them
Even
face
make
to
eye
face?
contact over
Yes.
Zoom.
Yeah.
That's a
I
skill.
am such a people person.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm
skill.
a hugger.
Look
and
in the
I'm like, I want
camera,
to look
it's
at
weird.
you. I'll
Yes.
even like
Yeah.
put my arm around you if you're hurting. or
So
whatever
investing in
else.
some
Yeah.
new technology.
How do you do that over
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
computer?
Yeah, I can agree with her. And so one of the things I offer clients now is, hey, I can still come to your house. I can meet with you.
Yeah.
But we've also become 100% virtual as well. So if you're more comfortable with that,
Mm-hmm.
we can just meet on Zoom. And it's funny how many people choose
The
the online
in-person.
the virtual
Yeah.
option.
Sure.
And their response isn't like, hey, we're being safe. It's like, hey, that would work much better for me.
Yeah.
Because everyone's busy.
Totally.
And so I feel like as much as we lose that personal touch, I've bought back so much time
Yeah.
traveling to
Good
people's
point.
homes. And
Good
so
point.
I've bought myself back hours a day, every day. So
That's
I think
wonderful.
that's a good thing.
Great point.
there's pros and cons
Which
to it.
was
but-
part of your question originally.
Yeah.
Was I was trying to figure out why I was so much more productive this
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about it's a time save.
I didn't have as much
It's-
mileage
Yeah.
run off for my CPA.
Sure, sure.
But yeah.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's like, it was kind of weird going to fancy offices, expecting everyone to be all dialed in. And then I'm still kind of dialed in because I'm coming to your office, but then the manager or the owner or whoever is like in tennis shoes and sweats, and they're looking at me like, why are you dressed this way? Oh, you're right, I didn't get
Because
the
it's
memo.
progress from the
It's progress,
pajamas.
Sure.
Yeah, seriously.
100%.
My outfits have changed so much this
Yeah.
past year.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
pins up.
Yeah.
From the camera view.
That's funny. That's funny.
I say picking up the phone for me, because I think at a certain point you start getting pretty used to text,
Yeah.
and I found that picking up the phone and just chatting with people, it's like they just want that connection. And quite frankly, not everybody wants to be on camera all the time. So I've kind of gone old school, pick up the phone, have a chat, and I think that's been really, really great to just continue building relationships beyond just checking in over text. I think that's really dumbed down the relationship
Well, plus
component
you
of
have
our
a real
business.
talking point.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
Yeah. How
for
are
the
you
first
doing?
time is going through the same thing essentially. Everybody is in a pandemic.
Together, yeah.
Everybody's in fear of their parents or their children aren't in school, or I don't know. You have this common ground, regardless of where you came from and who you are and whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're all in the same wavelength as I am in terms of, I think 2020 will be a blessing. I think it has been a blessing to the industry. I think we've all learned a lot. We've all realized that the world can throw us a curveball, and we're still going to smack that sucker over the fence. So with that, I'm super excited to have all of you guys here with me today to share your knowledge, share your experience with our audience. So thank you, and thank you for tuning in. And make sure that you tune back to catch a glimpse of their individual episodes next week. Thank you.